The upcoming video contains excerpts from each episode of Jonathan Otto's cutting-edge detox and healing methods from world-renowned doctors and health experts. Register now to watch all 12 episodes for free during the replay weekend of February 1st to the 3rd. Also, get 5 free life-saving ebooks now using the links below this video.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Otto, investigative journalist, filmmaker, and humanitarian. Welcome to my brand new docuseries, Disease in Reverse. Just by being here, you're taking a massive step towards your own healing journey. In this docuseries, you'll learn how to protect yourself from the global government's deadly population culling agenda. You need to know Dr. Bryan Ardis's shocking new discovery of how they've been attacking our food supply with deadly venoms for decades. His own unvaxxed wife even tested positive for scorpion venom. Over 50 plus of the world's top medical doctors and natural healing experts will reveal the cutting-edge disease reversal treatments that they're using to heal their own patients from COVID and vaccine injuries. You'll also learn the latest natural healing protocols to treat chronic and autoimmune diseases that plague hundreds of millions each and every year. Above and beyond that, you'll learn how to strengthen your immune system so that you can be fully prepared for any other plandemic that is thrown at us. In honor of the late Dr. Rashid Buttar, who is a dear friend of mine, I've decided to include one of the last interviews I had with him in this episode. In fact, this was the last interview I had with him.
And then you've got the second phase of this phenomena, which is the indirect exposure, meaning what people have termed as a shedding aspect, which is indirect inoculation. The plan all along was that half the population would get inoculated directly, i.e. getting vaccinated, and then the second half of the population, this is looking at the worldwide population, the second half would get indirectly inoculated from the first half that were directly inoculated, which is basically the shedding phenomena, or coming in contact with somebody who has had the vaccination. So those are the two phenomena that everyone should be aware of.
Buttar took a stand for his own son. And for me, as a father of 5 kids, there's nothing more incredible than the motivation of a father to take his skill set, his talents that God gave them, and then that individual over his clinical experience and go, something is wrong here, damn it. I'm going to fix my kid's autism. I'm going to detox him of heavy metals. And then when he did it over years of perfecting this technique, he can then go into a presentation in front of politicians that represent all of those in this country and say to them, we have a way to reverse autism and detox metals out of them. And then to be challenged by medical boards and spend $14 million is what he said, fighting medical boards, trying to take his license from him and then winning. Oh my God, how incredible is that? We found scorpion venom inside my wife's body. Well, we don't own scorpions. We don't have pet scorpions, and we've never been stung by a scorpion. So how did scorpion venom get in our bodies? The moment that the report was published and they handed it to me, I literally asked the clinician to send someone from the office and go to the nearest Home Depot or Lowe's and buy Roundup or Roundup Plus, the concentrated form, and bring it back to the office for us to test. And he goes, well, why do you want to do that? And I said, because there's a company called Monsanto, who's owned by the corporation, the Bayer Corporation. The Bayer Aspirin Corporation owns Monsanto. And about 6 months ago, I learned that Monsanto owns, not only do they own the patents to glyphosate, which is used in Roundup to be an insecticide and herbicide to kill plants and insects. They own, Monsanto does also, I found the published papers, they disclose it, they own the largest patent library of insecticides that are made worldwide from snake venom, from scorpion venom, and from spider venoms. So I read that about 6 months ago, and when my wife tests the other day for scorpion venom inside of her, that girl eats so many veggies and tries to eat only whole foods or organic vegetables every day, all day, every day. She's a super health nut. But when scorpion venom populated in her body, I then knew Monsanto and their use of insecticides that are made from scorpion venoms, maybe it's found in Roundup or in glyphosate. So I'm going to share with your audiences right now how I believe they could be doing all of this spreading of venoms. So we had them go by Roundup. So I'm going to read to you what they found in Roundup.
During COVID now, we have what's called turbo cancer. Any virus that's around can now perpetuate and go from sort of a stealth mode to a much more active mode.
We've never used causation as a rationale to take a drug off the market.
Some of the most valuable things doctors have discovered in this whole pandemic era are derivatives from nature.
You're finding that that therapy is the best one.
Yes. We can heal, detox our body of all poisons, and regenerate our cells back to health. We absolutely can.
I need to explain this to you guys. The NIH just published that the spike protein is identical to HIV components, the spike protein of HIV, and snake venom neurotoxins. And what are they injecting 5 billion people around the world with? They're only injecting them with one of two things. They're either injecting you with the spike proteins that they just published, the NIH did, that it's identical to 2 snake neurotoxins from their venom. Okay, they're either injecting snake venom inside of you or HIV-1's glycoprotein, which, by the way, snake venom research have published for decades. The spike protein of HIV is identical to snake venom components. Okay, so now you know the spike protein on HIV that creates AIDS is also a venom-based protein. Well, how'd it get there?
We've had an incredible run so far, and if you've been watching so far, you'll know that I've been interviewing some of the world's top experts to bring you life-changing natural protocols for reversing vaccine injuries and ongoing chronic diseases, including long COVID, cancer, autoimmune disease, dementia. We're dealing with it all here. And you would have also learned about how it's all been constructed well in advance by the global governments to further their agendas. In today's episode, we'll be sharing insight from world-class experts on their top natural protocols and treatments for COVID-related chronic diseases and vaccine injuries, so you can take back your health and live your life to the fullest. What we have learned is truly groundbreaking and will save countless lives as it has in the past. As this powerful docuseries progresses, I feel more and more hopeful that more people like you will change the course of history. In fact, we've uncovered some incredibly empowering information that equips us with the tools that we need to fight against the spike glycoproteins from COVID and the DNA damage. In today's episode, you'll learn about natural medicines to reverse autoimmunity, chronic diseases, and cancer. Next up, we have Dr. Tom Lewis, who explains his approach to managing severe vaccine injuries. He describes it as a comprehensive process that involves addressing various factors such as gut health, deficiency, excesses, and toxins. Dr. Lewis believes in the importance of building a solid foundation and ensuring the patient's resilience and overall health. Instead of solely focusing on symptom management, he believes in starting at the root cause and working upward. He explains his range of interventions and treatments that he utilizes for vaccine-injured patients, including methylene blue, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, herbals, essential oils, and antibiotic therapy for specific conditions like chlamydia pneumonia. Next is Dr. Richard Urso, who teaches about the benefits of drugs like ivermectin and their use in combination with holistic supplements. He believes that various substances we encounter, including what we ingest or inject, can impact our biochemistry. He mentions the alkaline nature and negative charge of water as an example. He has repurposed drugs like ivermectin for other uses, such as eye drops for oil gland dysfunction, and has observed their effects on different compounds. He highlights the importance of molecular biology in discovering new measurements and solutions for problems caused by these substances. These drugs have multiple effects and can target specific channels or mechanisms. Next up, we have Dr. John Witcher expressing his initial skepticism toward the COVID vaccines and his distrust in pharmaceutical companies due to his experience as a doctor. He explains that he couldn't promote the vaccines to his patients because he didn't have enough information to provide informed consent. When his hospital mandated that all employees get vaccinated or face job loss, he and his wife started an organization called Mississippi Against Mandates to speak out against the unlawful mandate. Their advocacy put them under investigation by the licensure board, and the board implemented a policy that threatened doctors with the loss of their medical license for providing what they call misinformation about COVID vaccines. Dr. Witcher and other doctors questioned the definition of misinformation and criticized the board for aligning with the narratives of established medical organizations and took a stand against this unlawful stance. By now, you'll know that we're really dealing with mass poisoning through a bioweapon, and that there is a mass censorship and brainwashing agenda that's against the protocols that actually save lives, and the very same ones that Big Pharma don't want you to know about because they can't make profits from them. Our bodies create what we need to heal naturally. All we need to do is remove the things that hinder its ability to rapidly repair and give it what it needs to initiate this process. Next up, we have Dr. Peter McCullough, who discusses the shocking findings from autopsies of individuals who died after the deadly jab, revealing identifiable causes of death related to the so-called vaccine. He emphasizes the importance of staining tissues for the spike protein during autopsies. Dr. McCullough expresses concerns about the safety of all COVID vaccines, highlighting the risk of blood clots associated with different spike proteins. He mentions the presence of long, rubber-like blood clots, both post-mortem and in living individuals, even after 2 years of vaccination. He cites a study showing an increased risk of blood clots in retinal arteries and veins 2 years after receiving mRNA vaccines.
I'm Dr. Peter McCullough. I'm a practicing internist and cardiologist here in Dallas, Texas, and I've been in practice now for many decades. I've become a leader in COVID-19 treatment, and I've published widely on the pandemic, have over 60 peer-reviewed publications on the topic. I've testified multiple times in U.S. Senate, multiple state Senate venues. And I think some of the big updates that we're going to tackle deal now with recovery after multiple episodes of COVID-19 and multiple administrations of the COVID-19 vaccines.
Next is Dr. Brian Ardis, who deep dives into the connection of myocarditis and its relationship to the spike protein and vaccine injury. He claims to have discovered research papers from 2015 that funded studies using viruses to induce myocarditis in animals and found that nicotine could reverse the inflammation. He suggests that nicotine found in plants like tobacco and various vegetables can protect against the venomous effects of spike proteins, including those attributed to COVID. Dr. Ardis criticizes the medical community for not utilizing nicotine as a treatment for myocarditis and suggests that the spike protein targets nicotine receptors rather than ACE2 receptors. Following that, we have Dr. Christina Parks, who discusses the potential connection between the spike protein and ion channel blockage. She mentions that venoms, including snake venom, typically work by blocking ion channels such as sodium, potassium, calcium, and zinc channels, leading to paralysis in a snake's prey. She states that it's not surprising that Big Pharma repurposed venom for their medications, and the spike protein's toxicity is similar to that of venom. The spike protein can trigger immune system attacks and damage organs. Re-exposure to the spike protein may cause repeated attacks. Next up, we have Dr. Thomas Ealy back again, who challenges common medical beliefs and exposes two significant myths. Firstly, he dispels the notion that cholesterol causes heart disease, explaining its function as a natural antitoxin and the need to address underlying toxicity rather than focusing solely on cholesterol levels. Secondly, he debunks the belief that calcium supplementation is an effective treatment for osteoporosis. Instead, he advocates for a holistic approach that includes rebuilding connective tissue and considering multiple factors contributing to osteoporosis. Dr. Levy warns against excessive calcium intake as it can negatively impact cardiovascular health and increase the risk of cancer. Next, we have Dr. Henry Ealy, who speaks on the importance of being proactive and finding solutions to our health problems. He encourages a positive and empowering mindset to promote true healing. Dr. Ealy suggests that the adverse effects experienced by individuals who have received the shots are likely injection injuries. He proposes a different perspective on shedding, speculating that genetically infected microorganisms rather than spike glycoprotein are being shed and transferred between individuals. Next, we have Dr. Brian Hooker, who discusses his upcoming book, Vaxxed, Unvaxxed, Let the Science Speak, which explores the differences between vaccinated and unvaccinated populations. He highlights the power of fear in influencing people's actions and draws parallels between the AIDS epidemic and the COVID plandemic. After that, we have Dr. Tao Braun, who speaks on the rapid change in people's beliefs and the power of narratives. He shares his experience as someone who previously focused on hard science and testified about brainstones found in the perpetrator of a mass shooting. He highlights the influence of financial incentives and job security in driving people to buy into a particular narrative. As an entrepreneur, he emphasizes the freedom to push back against mandates. Dr. Braun then delves into the world of virology and vaccinology, noting that while it may seem impenetrable with its medical terminology, it can be simplified and understood. He draws parallels between the processes used in food making and the purification and filtration techniques employed in vaccine production, likening them unto sorcery and witchcraft. The mitochondria are often referred to as the powerhouses of the cell. They are small, membrane-bound organelles found in the cells of most living organisms, including humans. The primary role of the mitochondria is to generate energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, through a process called cellular respiration. Mitochondria play a vital role in various cellular functions and are essential for the overall functioning and survival of cells. Next, we have Dr. Mark Sherwood, who expresses his concerns and opinions about the COVID plandemic vaccines and the healthcare system. He criticizes the development and distribution of the toxic COVID vaccines, attributing it to a profit-driven motive rather than a genuine concern for public health. Dr. Sherwood also discusses the history of vaccine liability transfer and the increase in vaccine utilization, suggesting a link between vaccines and chronic inflammation and various health conditions like autism, birth defects, myocarditis, arthritis, and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. To conclude this episode, we have Dr. Daniel Newsom, who discusses how the concept of healing and reversing degenerative diseases relates to the use of IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. He shares his personal experience of breaking his sternum and choosing not to follow the recommended wrapping treatment. Instead, he started taking elk antler extract, specifically high doses of IGF-1, approximately 20 grams 4 times a day. He claims that within 2 weeks, his sternum was completely healed, allowing him to resume weightlifting, and Dr. Newsom suggests that the healing properties of IGF-1 can extend beyond broken bones to other conditions, including broken legs, broken arms, broken ribs, and degenerative diseases. The power of a true, complete detox can never be understated. It's amazing how God designed us to be able to totally replenish our systems and experience a hard reset, especially when we need it the most. You can go from feeling depleted with rapidly declining health to having so much energy and enthusiasm for life and enjoying incredible health. All of this is possible with a total body detox. I've experienced this. Many people in my life have experienced this, and I have no doubt that you will experience this as well. So much of what should be making us healthy, such as our food and water supply, has been manipulated through decades of venom-based insecticides, GMO foods, fluoridated water, and countless chemicals to destroy our natural immunity. And without taking proper care and intentional effort into building our immune system back to how it should be, we leave ourselves open and vulnerable to a multitude of diseases. By using the right protocols, we can rebuild our immune system to incredible levels to withstand diseases and live a truly healthy life. And what's even more encouraging is when we follow the protocols that our bodies have been designed to respond well to, we experience the type of healing that we could have never imagined. The excitement I feel from this truth is what fueled me in my passion to spread this message to as many people as I could. Next, we have Dr. Jana Schmidt discussing the advantages of strong natural immunity compared to vaccines. She explains that natural immunity is simple, innate, and designed specifically for an individual, providing lifetime protection. In contrast, vaccines are man-made substances that attempt a one-size-fits-all approach and may not offer guaranteed long-term immunity. Following that, we have Dr. Daniel Newsom, who discusses the concerns surrounding the mRNA vaccine and its potential impact on genetic alteration. He explains that our DNA has repair systems that can recognize and delete the mRNA, suggesting that altering DNA is not a major concern. However, he expresses worry about hydrogel used to suspend the mRNA, which contains graphene oxide. Graphene oxide is highly toxic, unlike graphene, which actually has health benefits surprisingly. Dr. Newsom explains that graphene oxide is a universal toxin that doesn't easily break down or leave the body, similar to glyphosate. He believes that individuals with autoimmune disease or autoimmune responses have faulty immune systems that can be triggered by universal toxins. Therefore, he cautions that for people with autoimmune conditions, the COVID vaccines are dangerous as they may trigger severe inflammatory and toxic responses that could be life-threatening. Next, we have Dr. Jana Schmidt, who explains that leaky gut negatively affects the immune system and occurs when there are holes in the digestive system, allowing substances to leak through the body and trigger inflammatory responses. Poor diet, particularly the consumption of genetically modified corn, is a primary cause of leaky gut. Genetically modified corn contains a substance that can cause holes in the digestive system, similar to how it affects insects. It's designed to kill small microorganisms, and it does the same thing to us. The more we learn about the attacks from the elites and Big Pharma, the more apparent it becomes that our natural immunity can literally be life or death. Today, we'll learn more about the covert attacks on humanity and uncover the details of the mass envenomation agenda that we witness before our very own eyes. Hi, I'm Jonathan Otto, and you're currently watching episode 12 of Disease in Reverse, unveiling the secrets to living a long, healthy life. This is the very last episode of Disease in Reverse, and I'm so glad to see how many lives have been impacted by this docuseries. My team and I have spent countless hours, countless weeks, countless months putting together everything to help people just like you, and seeing how well this has been received has just been incredible. The purpose of sharing the truth about what's really going on right now and how this is having detrimental effects on our health and our lives helps to liberate us, knowing that there are solutions that are making a difference and helping people regain what was taken from them gives us new hope. Despite what many will tell you, we can put our diseases in reverse. That's what this mission is all about. And in this episode, we learn exactly how we can then use our newfound health to enjoy a long disease-free life. We've covered some of the best ways to bulletproof our immune systems, using protocols that are being hidden from us by the ones who claim to care about our health. Take natural immunity, for example. It has been proven to be more effective than vaccinations, yet Big Pharma still push them. Why? Profit and control. But I really want to encourage you and remind you that you're not alone. Countless people across the world are waking up and accepting these difficult truths. This journey is not easy, but truthfully, it's the only viable path. We must claim back our God-given health, freedom, and hope for a better future. I encourage you to spread this message of hope to those around you and forward them these episodes. I look forward to hearing your success story and how this docuseries has changed your life for the better.
Here are step-by-step snapshots to sign up for a free email service, within minutes, that is totally anonymous. It gives you a way to share any controversial videos, websites, emails, and links to any article anonymously. In your browser search bar, go to proton.me, then on the upper right-hand corner, click on Create a Free Account. On the left column, select Individuals, then click on Get Proton for Free. Then click on Continue with Proton Free. Under Username, enter an anonymous email address name that is available. If the email address is already taken, then add some numbers at the end of the username. Then enter a password of your choice, then click on Create Account. You should write down your username and password on a piece of paper so you don't forget it. Complete the CAPTCHA puzzle for verification that you are a human by dragging the puzzle piece to the appropriate spot, then click Next. Enter a display name which people will see when you send them an email, preferably something meaningful. You don't have to set up a recovery method if you truly want to stay anonymous, even to Proton Mail. If that is what you want, then continue by clicking Maybe Later. Just make sure you don't forget your Proton email address and password, because you won't be able to recover the email account if you don't choose a recovery method. You can now start using your new free and anonymous Proton email account to share videos, links, and articles with family, friends, and coworkers anonymously. If you've missed some of the steps during the sign-up process, then just replay the video and pause it at each step. Please share this video far and wide,